My think piece draws on my work leading the mobile learning project here at CSU, and I wanted to discuss how technology, in particular mobile, is really changing the way we think about the context of learning. Context is the combination of a number of things. It's people, their goals and tasks, the available information, technology and infrastructure, and the physical and social environments they are located in. The premise of my think piece is that higher education around the world is stuck with a contextual model of learning that is based around the campus. This model shapes the way we think about pedagogy, practice, content and technology, and does so with specific affordances in mind. I'd contest that this model hasn't actually kept up to date with the evolving and changing technology, that it does not reflect our student enrolments, nor does it acknowledge what is unique about CSU. Does it really support our diversity, our strategic goals, and our community? My area of expertise, and one of the key elements that defines a context, is the information, technologies, and infrastructure that's available. This is where we have all seen and experienced significant and substantive change. Perhaps this is best summed up in this quote, which discusses how in the last 70 years we've gone from a device the size of a two-story building to something that fits neatly in our pocket, that we've built a browsable and searchable archive of information that's accessible by around the globe, and where we've opened up information and communication channels that can be obtained and accessed by everyone, everywhere. Even in the last 20 years, we can see, I think, a massive change in technologies. All of a sudden, we have a single pocket-sized device that can replace a whole suite of physical devices and at a much more affordable price. Mobile has grown so much over the last number of years, and it's really best summed up in this photo comparing the announcement of the new Pope from 2005 to 2013. This is the technology of today, ubiquitous, in use, and in the hands of our students. In this table, I compared the affordances of old technology from the PC age to that of the mobile age. If we think about how the location is affected in the PC age, it's really about being situated. The environment is static and the speed of change is quite slow. And this is because things are quite complex but also expensive. The technology becomes separated and we have to in place around formal structures like timetables and specific rooms and allocations for that technology to go to. This decreases the level of convenience and it really abstracts the technology from our day-to-day life. If we compare this to the mobile age, the location is mobile, the environment is dynamic, the speed of change is far more rapid, and that's because things have become a lot cheaper. The technology itself has become more embedded in our lives, and it's because the technology is much more organic, it's adaptive to us. This increases the level of convenience and the authenticity becomes much higher because it's situated in our day-to-day lives. If we look at the affordances of the old technology, this really aligns closely with this campus context model. But what's the model that marries with the new technological age? This is something that's been discussed and already in the strategic plan, the student-centered context. By changing the lens from the institution to the individual, we can start to understand the context of learning in an entirely new way. Now, it's important to state that CSU has never operated entirely in the campus context. Our DE cohorts have always operated in the student context, but it has always been a poor cousin because we've inevitably tried to replicate the campus context and its affordances. This has worked to some degree, but the reality is it doesn't really fit. We need to reframe our perspective and really look at our practice and the opportunities and affordances this new context presents. This requires us to move beyond the technology and develop a better understanding of the student's context. In terms of the physical environment, we have to understand that learning doesn't make a distinction between location and physical environment. It follows the student. This is great for CSU because it means that regardless of where our students are, on one of our many campuses, at home or at work or on prac, they're really able to learn there. And learning happens in the physical spaces that they choose, often non-traditional spaces like bedrooms, cafes, and the workplace. If we think about the social environment, we have to understand that learning is social, that study is a component of life, as is work and family. Learning has to be something that's interactive. It's not something that's passively done to someone. Key to coming to university and that whole experience is really to connect and to create a network of their other students and peers, the other practitioners in their profession, and to gain that access to that wider professional field. They become a node supported by the network that they build. If we think about the goals and the tasks that they're trying to achieve, learning is really tied to their professional ambition. And this is a bit more expansive than the terminology around about just getting a job or a career. So study really has to fit in with life. It has to be authentic and it has to have purpose and make sense. This context really creates new opportunities. Changing the way we understand the learning context allows us to move beyond the current paradigms. As Alan pointed out, it allows us to move beyond the strategy, practice, and policy around access and start to think about effectiveness. Some areas of opportunity for CSU are centered around the ability of the learning experience to become more connected, more social, to improve the sense of proximity, to increase the amount of interactivity, to change the way that we experience our learning from being social to from a more social experience than the solo one that our students currently have. And it's also an opportunity to change the way we communicate, to become more like a dialogue rather than a correspondence exchange. Mobile presents us with a whole range of opportunities here and to work within this space. In many ways, I feel that technology might be able to help us better understand what opportunities might be available to us if we shift our understanding of the learning context. In many ways, mobile technology allows us to provide a learning experience that is much more relevant in the sense that learning can become situated rather than simulated, more convenient and flexible. Learning can occur anywhere, at any time, even at the exact moment that the learning is actually required. It becomes learner-controlled. The always available nature empowers learners to take the initiative and direct their own activities. We can become more socially connected. We can open up channels to communicating with peers and experts through text, video, and audio, and enable interactions between peers, tutors, and beyond. We can start to kind of globalize those connections. It also presents us with an opportunity for our students in the learning to become more reflective. The voice and video recorder enables effortless and instantaneous recordings of thoughts and opinions. Mobile really allows us to have this effortless sense of gathering information and creating more authentic learning that we can use and assess in something like a portfolio. As we set out to create a new model for teaching and learning and become more effective educators, the hope is by reframing the context of learning from the campus model to the student-centered one. This will allow us to make better decisions, improve the experience, and really take advantage of the changes in technology and the affordances that they present. Developing around a student-centered context will allow learning to become more mobile, dynamic, rapid, embedded, organic, convenient, and situated. In turn, this will develop a more connected and interactive CSU experience for all our students, independent of their discipline, location, or study mode. I think the context of learning is already moving beyond the campus. It's really now up to us to respond.